many of you are so thrilled to have Brooks Till in the house with us today? Amen. I appreciate Brooks more than he knows. Brooks has been, from what I've seen, just consistent. I mean, above and beyond. You'll see that, but consistent. The heart for young people, the heart for the Lord, and what a communicator of the Word of God. And so we are thrilled today to have you, Brother Brooks. I want you to come at this time and just bring it, brother. We love you. Amen.
Do you love Pastor Bobby today? He's a good man, you know. I like to see a pastor not uptight, don't y'all? You know, I go some places, if the announcer video don't play, they throw a fit from the pulpit, you know, but he's calm, cool, and collected. And you know, the bottom line is we don't need to be getting in a hurry or get uptight about everything. You know, the Lord has it. Regardless if it's a video or a financial need or a health need or whatever it is you come in here needing today, that the Father, He knows exactly what He's doing, okay? And so, and He knew exactly what He was doing when He gave you this pastor right here, and Pastor Bobby. And so I just, him and his wife, just incredible, and he loves the Lord, he loves his family, and he loves his church. And I, you know, when you have somebody like that, you got somebody good leading you, okay? And it's easy for me to get behind somebody that's leading when they do those things in that order right there, okay? And so I love you, and that's the man that he is. And I say that everywhere I go, but I really mean it today when I say that about you. And so, man, I was here on Wednesday, and what the Lord is doing with your youth and your teens and your students, whatever it is that you call them. How many of you know in the Bible it doesn't say anything about the word teenager? Okay, teenagers, no. You listen, you're either a boy or a man, you're either a girl or a woman, all right? When you get beyond the age of 12, you're an adult, okay? And I think we get in the habit in church of talking to these so, you know, these kids, and not giving them what they need because you think they can't handle it. Can I tell you that these kids, they're not the church of tomorrow. They are the church of today. Okay? And what we did in this room on Wednesday night, that was big boy stuff. All right? That's big girl stuff. And I'll just be honest with you. Sometimes we can just go ahead and take a note on how these students are worshiping. Look at them up there at the front jumping around. Look at them with their hand raised. Well, no. You need to be up at the front. Because there was a time in your life when you were probably at the front of an altar with your hands lifted. I remember when I was growing up, I remember, you know, seeing old women come in on walkers and throwing those walkers out of the way and running the aisles. And some of you are like, you know, I'm just going to stand right here in my little zone. Well, that's cool. You won't get anything out of it. You'll get out of it what you put into it today. Y'all want me to leave yet? Y'all want me to go back? My wife's not here today, so I can really say some things today, right? She's singing at church this morning, and she's got our 6-month-old with her, and his name is Reeves, 6 months old, and he is already 20-something pounds. He's a chip off the old block. And he's got a little dimple on his chin, and he is just as cute as he can be, and he's got a little smell about him. I don't know if I can explain this to y'all, but it's like when I press his cheek, it's just like a sweet fragrance comes out of there. It smells like a honey bun, you know what I'm saying? And I just love that little baby. And I've got a 5-year-old Griffin. He's over in the children's. He's my little sidekick today. Brittany said, why don't you take him with you today, right? And what that means is, why don't you take him with you today, right? And so I took him over there, and I told him, I said, listen, lock the doors, okay? And so he's over there terrorizing. Y'all might not have a children's church left today, but he is a beautiful young man. He's growing into a young man. He's been a little slow to communicate, but he's starting to really communicate how he feels, and on this morning, he said, "Mommy's my favorite," and I said, "What about me?" He said, "You're my favorite too," right? And boy, it just messed my heart. And he's growing, and he's getting older, and we're having we're talking about things like, where's he going to go to school, and honestly, I want him to go to I want him to go to public school. We've been having those talks, and I've done a lot of ministry in the public schools, and I know that some choose to homeschool, some choose to send them to private schools, and whatever works best for you. But I really want him to go into a public place, and I really want him to be the light in the darkness. Like that's what I want for him. Now, what we do there or not, I don't know, but I wonder what the world's going to look like as he walks through it, and his journey. And I don't know if the news, and there's. I've been watching the news, everything that's happening over in Memphis, and everything and I thought to myself the other night, how did we get here? Yeah. How did we get to this place? Yeah. But then I remembered that he is in control of it. And that it's our job on this journey called life to just keep climbing. Because it is a beast. It is a mountain. But he's given us everything we need to get to the top. Do you believe that today? Yeah. My little boy, Griffin, when we were going through 2020 and all that mess, and I don't even know if COVID is still a real thing or not anymore. They don't even hardly talk about it no more. But I remember when they told us we needed to stay home, and I remember when the 4th of July rolled around, they said, you need to stay home, you don't need to be getting together and having a barbecue, right? And I don't know about where you come from, but where I come from, we throw dead animal on the grill on the 4th of July, and so we did that, and we gathered together, okay? And I know I'm live today, so they're probably after me today, but we got on there, and you get a little swine and you throw it on the grill, right? That's what you do. And so we got together at my in-laws' house, and we had 4th of July, and Griffin, we're great parents, he had about 15 Capri Suns that day, and and how do you like a Capri Sun? Praise God, right? We're great parents. Why not have another one, right? And he drank about 15 of them, and he was wired up, and he wasn't, but he was young. And on the way home that night, he just crashed. He just crashed in the back seat, and I could hear him snoring in the back seat as we're on our way home, and fireworks are being shot off everywhere, and apparently other people didn't get the memo about staying indoors. And we're on the way home, and we're hearing them snore. And can I tell you something? I have the body type to snore, okay? I snore at night. And it's annoying, according to my wife, right? Roll over. You're not breathing, right? I think I pass away every night when I sleep. I think they call it sleep apnea. I pass away and somehow I wake up again, It's just the way. So what's wrong with my mind, I just going in and out, and it's annoying when I snore, but when my little boy snores, let me tell you, it's the most beautiful sound in the world, right? And he's got little bitty nostrils like little pinholes, and when he snores, I can hear him. He just whistling, and I love it. I could sit there all night and listen to him sleep. I was listening to Reed sleep yesterday. He sounded like a little piglet, it just, doing that the whole time, and I love it. Whether they're breathing light or they're breathing hard, whether they're snoring or not, I love to hear my children breathe, because if they're breathing, I know they're living. Can I tell you, you're going to breathe a little hard in this life? There's going to be times you're going to breathe harder. But the sound of hard breathing is the sound of life. And when it gets hard, just know this. You're still awake, and you're still going, and you're still breathing, right? And so we were sitting there, and we were talking, and we were listening to him sleep. And I said, oh, listen to him. Don't he sound sweet, you know? And Brittany, she said, oh. She said, I love him. We're sitting there talking about his life, and you know, what do you think he'll do? You know? He likes cars. Maybe he'll be a race car driver, you know, or what's he going to do with his life, you know? And she said, oh, my goodness. And she said something to mess me up. She said, hey, you ever wonder how long he's going to live? And I said, what? Like when he gets old, what's he going to be like when he gets older, you know? And how long will he live? And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, and I said, well, I hope he lives to 100 years old, you know. I hope he lives to see 100. Yeah, that's a good round number. It's a good long life. I hope he sees 100. Right? And then she goes, 100 years old. Wow. She said, what year would that be? And then my mind got blown a little bit. Because if he lives to see 100, that would be in the year 2117. 2117. And that messed me up. Well, it seems like a long way off, don't it? But if he gets to 100, he'll hit that year. I thought to myself, oh my gosh, like the chances are pretty likely he's gonna see the 2100s. I thought, wow, that's unbelievable. And then I started thinking about how long I was going to live. And I thought maybe I shouldn't have had that honey bun. You know what I mean? Right? I didn't have to put all that butter on that roll, you know? You start thinking about it. I'm in my 30s, and I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking, oh, my goodness, I'm not saving enough money. I don't have enough money coming in, right? I haven't put near enough back for retirement yet. Like, I'm just thinking about all this stuff because I'm thinking, oh my gosh. And then it hit me again because I started thinking, oh, if I live to see 100, boy, I hope I get there, right? That'd be the year 2086. And then it messed me up again because I thought, even if I live to see 100, if he lives to see 100, I won't be there to see it. And then what I do in front of him on the time that I have here on this earth, what I leave with him, that'll be what's known as my legacy. Yeah. So if I spend my days lying, I'll be known as a liar. If I spend my days being greedy, I'll be known as a greedy person. But if I spend my days loving him, maybe my son will see my father was a lover of the things of God. I want to know what you're going to be known for today. Yeah. What are you going to be known for? If you spend your days chasing alcohol, that's what you'll be known as. You'll be known as an alcoholic. But if you love him, maybe they'll say of you, man, he loved the Lord. If you quit, you'll be known as a quitter. Yeah. But if you keep climbing, there's always the opportunity for victories. Yeah. But if you quit, you'll lose every time. And this life is a beast. I don't know why things happen the way they happen. I don't know why your loved one died. I don't know why they diagnosed him with cancer. I was at Vanderbilt the other day at the Children's Hospitals, and I walked through there with little infants as they were hooked up to all kinds of machines, and I thought to myself, why in the world does this have to happen? In this life, it's rough. Some of you, your dad, he walked out on you growing up. Your mom, she walked out on you. Your parents got divorced. Some of you went through that marriage that didn't work out, and they walked out on you. And they talked about you, and they lied on you. You've been through some stuff. Can I tell you that's unfair today? Fair ain't even a word. But I'll tell you this, He is good. And if you'll keep climbing, there's a view with your name on it today. There's a plot of land. What if I told you there's a plot of land as far as the eye can see with your name on it that's been bought and purchased just for you? The most beautiful thing you've ever seen in your life. And it's just for your eyes and His. It's just for you and Him to enjoy. Would you climb to get it today? You're either going to climb or you're not. I hope you climb with me today. Mark 3:13 through 15. Matthew 28:16 through 20. I'm going to read this out of the Message version today, okay? I know some of you are saying that's an unusual version of the Bible to preach out of, and it is. But this particular message, I've been preaching it all over the state and all over, and some around other states. But I've been preaching this message for the last few years now, and I want to communicate to everybody I can that we've got to keep climbing on this thing. And so the way these verses sound, it's just the way it's communicated. I just love it when I'm preaching this message. And so it may look different than what you have, but Mark 3:13 through 15. It says, He climbed a mountain. You might want to highlight that in your scripture today, okay? He climbed a mountain and He invited those He wanted with Him. They climbed together. And He settled on 12 and He designated them apostles. And the plan was that they would be with Him. And He would send them out to proclaim the word. And He would give them authority to banish demons. Matthew 28:16 through 20 says, Meanwhile, the 11 disciples were on their way to Galilee, headed for the mountain Jesus had set for their reunion. And the moment they saw Him, they worshiped Him. Some, though, they held back, not sure about worship, about risking themselves totally, which meant that some doubted that it was really Him. But Jesus, undeterred, He went right ahead and He gave His charge. And He said, God authorized and commanded me to commission you. Go out and train everyone you meet, right? Make disciples, far and near, in this way of life, marking them by baptism in the threefold name, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Then instruct them in the practice of all I have commanded you. And I'll be with you as you do this, day after day after day, right up to the end of the age. Man, two different passages of scriptures, both taking place on a mountain, which meant you had to climb to meet Him. Maybe we can go where He appoints the 12. He picked 12 people. 12 people gave up everything they had to follow Him. That you look at the impact that Jesus made on the world, and only 12 of them said, I'm going to give up everything. My relationships, my career, home ties. I'm giving everything up that I've got to follow you every day. That ain't very many, is it? See, a lot of people can show up to see Him every now and then. A lot of people can go to church every week, once a week, maybe even twice a week. But I want to tell you that very few are getting up every day and following Him like they need to. Very few of them. He rocked the world. This church is here today because He rocked the world on the other side of the world. With just a few. And we're reading about the few today. But I don't see anything else wrote right in His scripture about the many. See, we're going to read about the few. We won't read about the many. And you have a choice today. You're either going to be one of the many out there, or you're going to be one of the few who give up everything and follow Him. But I promise you, if you give up everything and follow Him, we're going to read about your life. Your legacy will be rich. So he climbs a mountain, and this is what he said. He invited those he wanted with him. There's an invitation on the table today. An invite. How many know what an invite is? Am I getting a little too fired up for you today? I just want to make sure you're breathing today, right? He gives an invite to him. He didn't say, listen, if you don't show up, I'm going to slit your throat, right? He didn't say, if you don't show up, I'm going to slash your tires, right? It's a joke, by the way. I don't think they had tires back in them days, right? Hey, if you don't come, listen, I ain't talking to you again. It wasn't that kind of an invite. When you send somebody an invite, who do you send it to? I'm giving an invite. I'm making out a list, and I'm writing down everybody's name that I love and that I like. Because we got something special happening. And I want you to come here and experience it with me, right? It was an invitation. Hey, my daughter's getting married, and this is who I want to be there. You're special to me. Now, I love you, but you're more than just a friend, man. I want you to be here for this happening, this life event, right? Hey, my son's graduating from high school. I want you to be there. I hope you can make it. It's going to be so good. An invitation. What he was saying is, hey, I found you out here in the street, and I love you, and there's more. If you just climb with me a little bit, I'll be over on the mountain. I'm inviting you to come with me. And then it said that the 12, they showed up and they climbed together. He didn't say show up and I'll let you climb alone. He said, if you'll come and meet me there, we'll climb together. Yeah. And that's what they did. They climbed together, which meant he was with them the whole time, right? And then he settled on 12, and he designated them apostles. And then this is what he had next. He said, now that you've met me and that you've climbed with me, I got to tell you something. I got a plan for your life. Some of you walked in here, I don't know what your life is like. I don't know what kind of job you work. Everybody in here looks different, and you have a different calendar. You have different things that you do. Everybody in here's day looks different. But the plan is the same for every one of you. And he's got a plan for your life. And it's the same plan he had for the 12. He said, here's what the plan is. Some of you are like, oh man, I'm fixing to tell you what God's plan for your life is, every one of you. So you don't have to be confused when you leave here. Here's the plan. The plan is that they would be with him. Amen. That's the plan. Here's the plan for your life. To be with him. Because it's all about him, and everything else just falls into place around it. When you spend time with him. He said, here's the plan. How many know when people get involved, the plans don't always unfold like they need to? Here's the plan. The plan that you would be with me. And then after you've been with me, after you spent time with me, after you climbed this thing with me, after you found out who I am, because you've been with me, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you out to proclaim the word. I'm going to send you out to tell everybody about your experience with me. You're going to proclaim the word, and then here's what's going to happen. Things are going to come against you. Evil is going to come against you. The enemy and his demons, they're going to come against you. And here's what I've got for you. I'm going to give you the authority to banish them. You're going to be with me. I'm going to send you out. And then when things get in your way, I'm going to give you everything you need to get them out of your way. It's a pretty good plan. I don't know about you. That's about the best plan I've ever heard. You give me that plan, I can go anywhere in this world and make it. I can go anywhere in this world and be victorious. Oh, my job ain't going well. Be with him. I need a raise. Be with him. I need a miracle in my finances. I need a miracle in my health. I need a miracle in my relationships. I don't know where to turn. Just be with me and I'll work it out. I don't know if y'all awake or not. I drank a Red Bull this morning. I don't know about y'all, but I'm seeing noises this morning. You know what I'm saying? In Matthew 28, 16 through 20, he appoints them. There was 12. And then in the Great Commission, Matthew 28, 16 through 20, it says, meanwhile, the 11 disciples were on their way to Galilee. What happened? He appointed 12, but when it came time to commission them, there was only 11 left. That meant that somebody quit. Can I tell you something? Boy, people are going to quit on you. They're not going to stick to the plan. Can I tell you, when I started ministry, boy, a lot of people quit on me. People are going to quit, and I'll tell you who quits the most. The people that you thought would never quit on you. They will be the first ones to quit, all right? So I'm letting you off the hook today. It ain't just you. It ain't your bad breath, all right? People just flake every now and then. Boy, in church, they flake a lot. Oh, I can't go to church. I don't want to get sick. That's cool. I saw you at the restaurant for 3 hours last night. You went to Walmart. I'm going to get on Walmart here in just a little bit. Meanwhile, the 11, somebody quit. We all know who the quitter was. He sold out for nothing. And on their way to Galilee, headed for the mountain. Boy, there's something about that mountain, ain't it? Jesus wants to get on the mountain, don't he? He wants to go to the high place. He wants you to go to the higher places. The mountain Jesus had set for their reunion. And the moment they saw him, they worshiped him. Some, though, they held back, not sure about worship, about risking themselves totally. Some of you, you just want to come in here and sit. I'm not getting out there and lifting my hands. I'm not risking it. I'm not selling out to this thing. I'm comfortable where I'm at. You will never see the view being comfortable where you're at. If you don't want more, then fine, stay at the house. But I don't know about you. I want more. I want all of it. You know, when I take a check to the bank, I don't say, just give me just a little bit of it and y'all keep all the rest of it. Yeah, I just want a little bit. I just want a few dollars. Man, why don't y'all just have it? No, don't worry like that. Not when I'm in my truck. I'll just go ahead and put all of it in the envelope. However you want to put it in there, but just put all of it in there. They wasn't sure about risking themselves totally, which meant that some doubted. See, when you don't sell out to this thing, here's what you're telling everybody else. I doubt that he's real. I'm doubtful of what I tell everybody I'm a believer, but really what I'm saying is I doubt that he can really do what this word says he can do. I didn't come here to tickle you today. I came here to provoke you a little bit today. But I'm going to let you off the hook. Can I tell you that on this journey, there's going to be days you get up and you doubt. When the money's low, you're going to doubt. When the doctors are still saying it don't look good, you're going to doubt. Can I tell you that? You're going to doubt when they walked out on you and they're not coming back, and you prayed and you prayed and you prayed. Can I tell you that you're going to get up and you're going to doubt? They could see him with their own eyes, and they doubted. I'm letting you off the hook today, that you're going to doubt. But here's what it said. Jesus was undeterred, and he went right ahead, and he gave his charge. And he said, God authorized and commanded me to commission you. You just go on out there and live the way I've told you to live. And everybody you meet, you just go ahead and you start discipling them. You just go ahead and start telling them about me. and you start showing them how they could walk it out with me.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Everybody. You start marking them by baptism in the threefold name, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And you instruct them in the practice of all I have commanded you. You tell them the plan. And you tell them that the same plan for your life is the same plan for their life.
Yeah. That's right.
Amen.
Whew. And here's the deal. Every day you go out and you do this, I'll be with you. Day after day after day after day to the end of the age. I don't know how long you're going to live. I don't know how long I'm going to live. I don't know how long my little boys are going to live. I don't determine the day when it's over here, but I know this. Every day that I go and be with him, he'll be with me. Every day I show up to climb this thing called life, he will climb with me. Even on the days that I doubt. Even on the days when it gets rough. Even when people quit on me. If I get up and meet him, if I report to the base of the mountain, he will be there ready to climb with me. To the end. To the end. You were built to climb. You were built for it. Every one of you in here was built for it. I remember when I had a bike. I ain't going to say when I was little because I ain't never been little. But I remember I had a bike. It was one of my first bikes that didn't have training wheels. And it was a little red bike. And it had a little foam piece on it when I got it. And it was tore off by the end of it. And the rubber on the handlebars, they were ripped off. After a while, and the wheels were bent. After I left it out in the driveway. And it got ran over. The tires were dry rotted because I was a healthy young man. And combine that with leaving your bike out in the rain, and they get dry rotted and they get wore out. And I had a little bike pump, and I'd pump them tires up on the porch, and then I would ride that bike down the driveway, and I'd get about 30 or 40 feet, and they'd be flat again. My bike was rickety. It was wore out. I had outgrown that bike, and I'll never forget, I told my dad, I said, hey, Dad, my bike is wore out. My dad, he's always had a little sinus issue, you know. He always does a little cough and a sniff before he says anything. He's like, yeah, it's wore out, ain't it, right? I'm from Alabama too, boy. We're country down there, right? Yeah, that bike's wore out, right? It's done. I said, yeah, I need a new bike. He said, well, we'll go on down there Saturday and get you a new one. I said, all right. You know, Dad got paid on Fridays. How many know what I'm talking about? You like pay, they going to raise your hand up good and high. Ain't nothing like that money hitting that account, right? And I remember back in them days, you know, Dad got paid on Friday, so Mom, this is what she would do on Thursdays. That's when we go to the grocery store, and that's when we go to Walmart, and she'd write the check because she knew it'd be good on Friday because Dad got paid then, right? Ain't no doubt about it, right? And so he said, we're going to get a bike, and I'm at school, and I'm thinking about the kind of bike I want because the kids in my neighborhood, they had these nice bikes with these pegs and stuff off the front and the back, you know, and their little girlfriends could ride on the bike with them, you know, and I didn't have no girlfriend, but in case I did, I could put them on my bike, right? And they could do tricks out in the street and all these things, and I mean, I couldn't even see my feet, but I was going to do some tricks out in the street, right? You know? And I want to do some tricks. I wanted a trick bike. Flashy. I wanted it. And I thought, man, I wonder where I could get that. And so I got to thinking, some kids in my class, they were into skateboarding. And back in the 90s, all right, they wore these big jeans called Jinkos. How many know what I'm talking about? The biggest, ugliest jeans you ever seen in your life. Huge. Huge. I mean, just huge jeans. And they wore these ugly shoes called Airwalks. How many know what I'm talking about? They were like pillows on your feet. They were wide. But they served a purpose and kept you on the board. How many know what I'm talking about? Ugly. And they had a chain that ran from their front belt loop down to their wallet. They ain't had no money in their wallet. Had a chain in it. What they was doing is letting everybody know they were an LMV. How many know what an LMV? A lunch money victim. That's what they were saying, right? And they had the hair down in front of their eyes. And they do this number. Flicking the hair. Just get you a haircut, big dog. You ain't got to do all that. You're going to break your neck, right? They were skater kids, man, you know. They had a little style with them. I didn't understand what they was doing because I didn't do what they did. You know what I'm saying? Everything they had on served a purpose. Right? And I thought, they probably know where I can get one of them bikes. And so we were having a little reading time in class, and they had some X Games magazines out. And I went over to them, and I said, hey, man, what's going on? And they're like, what do you want? You never talked to us, right? I need a bike. You want a bike? What kind of bike you want? I want, you know, this. I told them, and they were like, oh, we got you. And they scrolled the pages past the skateboards and past the rollerblades, and they got to the bike section, and they turned a few more pages, and there it was, man. Ooh, all the bikes that I was wanting to get. And I pointed one out. I said, that one. They said, oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's a BMX. I said, okay, yeah, that's it. It was chrome in red, and it had chrome pegs on it. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about, like Napoleon Dynamite? Shocks, pegs, Lucky, you know what I'm talking about, right? And I thought, oh, that's the bike right there. That's it. They said, yeah, that's how much it is. I said, oh, that's a lot. I didn't save my birthday money, right? They said, well, you can get one of them. I said, where do I get one of them at? They said, there's a bike shop called Cycle Escape in Montgomery. I said, okay. I said, that's good. I said, where's that at? They said, do you know where McDonald's is? I said, well, that's a stupid question. Yeah, I know where McDonald's is, right? It's behind McDonald's. I said, all right, I got you. I said, listen, that's a lot. What if I can't get that bike? They said, well, get you a Huffy or something. That's pretty good, too. I said, all right, I got you. Right? So I go home, and I tell my dad on Friday night, I'm like, hey, Dad, are we going to get the bike tomorrow? Yeah, right? Dad was ready. We get up on Saturday morning. We go get in the truck, and he gets in, and I get in the middle. My mom gets in. He had a little regular cab, you know, Chevrolet, and we get in it, and we take out across town, and all of a sudden I see McDonald's. There it is, all right? I knew we were getting close. And then we go past McDonald's, and there it was, Cycle Escape. And I thought, oh, yeah, Dad knows what he's doing, right? Yeah. And then we rode right on past Cycle Escape. And I'm glued to the window, and I'm going, Dad, there's Cycle Escape. And he said, we ain't going to no Cycle Escape. So we're going to Walmart, right? How do you know what Walmart is? Everybody in here knows what Walmart. That's where dreams go to die, at a Walmart. The Walmart where I live is the worst thing in the world. I'm pretty sure I've seen an alien inside Walmart in the town that I live in. I feel like I need to put tinfoil on my head when I go in there. And don't worry about getting a bottle of juice. Somebody is going to drink it before they buy it. Right? They're going to leave it on the shelf. You know what I'm talking about? That's where we're going to get a bike. And we get out and we're walking into Walmart, and I'm thinking, maybe they have one. Maybe they have a BMX. And we get in there, and all of a sudden I found out that they did not have a BMX. And I'm like, oh no. And I'm looking at the bikes, and I'm like, oh. And then all of a sudden one catches my eye. And I thought, that kind of looks like the BMX. It wasn't chrome and red, but it was gray and orange. It didn't have chrome pegs, but it had some black pegs, and it looked pretty sharp, and I thought, maybe I should try that one, and I get it down, and it wasn't a BMX. It was a mongoose. How many of you know what a mongoose is? Yeah, like the Great Value BMX, right? That was a bad bike at one time, but it was a Great Value BMX. It wasn't you know what I'm talking about, Great Value. Don't be shy in here with me today. Not Cinnamon Toast Crunch, you know what I'm saying? Toasted cinnamon cereal squares. It comes in a bag, you know what I'm talking about? And they look kind of like it, and they taste kind of like it, but they will tear your stomach up. And you'll be in there on the toilet holding the wall trying to figure out what's going on with your life. You know what I'm saying? It's a trick. Don't buy into it. There's some filler in those cereals that ain't good for your body. You understand what I'm saying? Makes you swell. I've been drinking a lot. I've been eating a lot of Great Value, right? And I'm back there and I'm like, well, this ain't to be a mess, but it's close. And the seat on it looked like a slice of pie. And so I went ahead and got on it. And I sat down on it. And they thought I was doing a magic trick inside of Walmart. Because abracadabra, now you see it, now you don't. The bike seat went away. You know what I'm saying? It went up into the abyss. And it just disappeared. I bet the bike seat's still in this room on this stage right now. It's somewhere in the room. I'm just saying. And my dad comes out and he's like, boy, you ain't got enough bike, right? And he looks over to my mom and he said, Rhonda, look at this right here, right? And the pedals were up in my thighs. I didn't know you could get anything in between my thighs, right? They're thick. I got some thick thighs. If I wear shorts and I run, it sounds like a standing ovation. You know what I'm saying? It's up there. The handlebars were in my chest. I need some help up there, right? They was up in my chest, and it just didn't fit. And my mom comes around. She's like, oh, Donnie, look at him on that bike. And I'm standing there. I'm like, this is not going to work. And I'm supposed to ride bikes with my buddies today. And then all of a sudden, I hear it. My dad comes around the corner. He had found me a bike. And it was the biggest, ugliest bike I've ever seen in my life. It looked like something the Wicked Witch was driving. I said, Dad, what is that? It's a mountain bike. Dad, we live in Alabama. South Alabama. It's flat. A mountain bike. Get on it. Get on it. And I get on it and the seat was plush. And I ain't gonna lie, it was ugly, but it felt good on my lower back. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like ministry. It's big and it's ugly. This thing called calling and purpose with him, like the plan don't always look, it ain't always the most glamorous or the best looking bike in the store, but I tell you what, that mountain bike could do things that other bike couldn't. And I get on it and I thought, oh my goodness, everything fits me just right. I can reach the pedals. And I thought, why are the handlebars moving? He said, that's got gears. I said, okay, what's this? That's brakes. I said, well, how do you use the gears? He said, if the pedaling gets hard, start shifting those gears and it'll get easier. And I thought, all right. And I know we had a good laugh in here today. But some of you have been out here living a life you were never built to live. You've been out here in the street doing everything else. But the mountain is calling you today. You were built to climb. And the Father has purchased and given you everything you need to get to the top. And I'll never forget, I was going to go ride bikes with my buddies. And in my neighborhood, there was a steep hill at the back of the neighborhood. But on the other side of that hill was my friend Marcus's house. And Marcus had a pool table. And Marcus had BB guns. And Marcus had frozen pizza from Swan's. How many know what I'm talking about? Wasn't no Great Value up in his house. His parents were shelling out the dough. You know what I'm saying? I bet they wondered where their pizza went every night, right? But it was Marcus's house, and you could either go up the hill to get to it, which none of us could. Only the older, experienced kids could get to the top of the hill on their bikes. So we didn't have that option. We'd have to go around the whole neighborhood to get there. And it was about a 40-minute bike ride to get around the back side of it. And by the time we got there, everybody pretty much quit. We didn't do it very often. And so that day, I knew it. I was like, I'm going out to ride bikes, and I really want to go to Marcus's house. But I'll never forget that my friends pulled up in their BMXs, their Huffies, and one or two mongooses, and they're sitting out in the front, right? And I come around the driveway with my big bike, and I look like Lance Armstrong on the Tour de France, right? That thing had a water bottle on it, and I had it full of Minute Maid fruit punch and ice. And I get out in the street, and I waterfalled it to let them know I was here. You know what I'm saying? And I put that water bottle down. And all of a sudden I hear, man, that bike is lame. Man, that's the biggest, ugliest bike I've ever seen. I thought you said you were going to get a BMX today. I thought you were going to get a better bike than that. Man, that is the ugliest bike in the neighborhood. No, ain't nobody want to ride that bike. I said, won't you just hush and let us ride, right? And we go and we ride. They're doing their tricks. And one of them's got their little girlfriend on the back. And they're doing their thing, and all of a sudden I had a thought. Let's go to Marcus's house. I said, hey, I'm fixing to go to Marcus's house. They said, you want to go to Marcus's house today? I said, yeah. They said, all right. And they take out around the side. I said, where are y'all going? They said, we're going to Marcus's. I said, no, we're going up the hill today. Going up the hill? You can't get up to the top of that hill. I said, my dad told me this bike, it was a mountain bike. They could get to the top.
Exactly. Yeah.
They said, oh, yeah, let's see you try that, right? So I take out, and I get to the hill, and I work up some speed, boy, and I hit that hill, and I get about a fourth of the way up, and all of a sudden, my fat little thighs begin to jiggle a little bit, right? And I thought, oh, no. My calves, boy, they were give out. I thought, oh, no. Then I remember what my father told me. He said, if it gets tough, just shift the gears on a little bit. And I begin to shift them gears, and all of a sudden, I begin to pedal a little bit easier. And all of a sudden, I'm halfway up the mountain. And I turn around and I look. And my friends are going, he might do it. He might make it. And I heard what I'm saying. We get to the top, I can too, maybe. And all of a sudden they take out behind me. Hey, what up? I'm almost there. I get to the top and I turn around and some of them, they're pedaling as hard as they can up that hill. And all of a sudden I became their coach because they had a focal point. Brooks made it to the top. Maybe I can too. Maybe I can too. Maybe I can too. And they begin to pedal harder and harder. And I said, come on, Trey. Come on, Tommy. Come on, Marcus. Come on, Pierre. Come on, Joe. Some of them had got off their bike. They were walking it up. And some of them said, I can't do it. And they quit and they went home. The boy with his little girlfriend, he put her off the bike and he went home and she went her separate way. He said, girl, you're walking. They're walking home. Most of them quit, but a few of them didn't. And before long, a few of them were standing on top of the hill with me. And we went to Marcus's house. We got up in that Swans. And some of you, listen, you're built to climb, and others out here, some of the many who are out here, they're built to climb too. They just got to see you do it first. They say, man, if they could do it, man, their loved one died of cancer. He lost his job, but some kind of way, he still has joy in his life. He's still going. He hasn't given up. He hasn't given in. He's still paying his tithes. He's still giving when it hurts. He's still treating others with respect. He's still loving people to the Father. I know she's not feeling good, but she's still cooking those meals for the ones that can't do for themselves. They're still climbing. You were built to climb the mountain. We got a picture of that mountain right here. That's El Capitan. Just to give you an idea, this mountain is basically straight up and down. It's a climber, this is the enthusiast. They climb this thing, with harnesses and ropes. But down here is trees. Some of these trees are 100 and some feet tall. If that gives you any idea how big this mountain is right here. That's a beast, ain't it? It's made out of like granite, and it's just a wall of granite. And a few years back, when we were at home watching a lot of TV, I watched a documentary called Free Solo. Some of you may have seen the documentary Free Solo. It's about an American mountain climber named Alex Honnold. He free soloed El Capitan. Some of you are like, what does free solo mean? He climbed it without any ropes or harnesses. I thought to myself, he did what? Thousands of feet high. And he did what? It took him hours to climb it. And I thought, what? This guy was going to free solo El Capitan. And we get into the documentary, and I thought to myself, this guy's an idiot. This guy is crazy. He has given up everything he has to live in this van. He literally lives in a van down by the river. Right? He's given up everything he has to go climbing. I said, what a moron, right? Eating chili out of a can every night. I'm thinking, that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? Also, he could get everything he got and put it towards the mountain. And I thought, he is crazy. And they talked about how much he had made off of climbing the mountain. I thought, well, maybe he's on to something, right? He had free soloed other smaller mountains, but this right here, this was the pinnacle right here. And there are people that climbed it with harnesses and stuff, but nobody had ever climbed it with nothing holding them on. And he just said, walk up to it one day. He climbed it every day with ropes and harnesses. He climbed it every day with others. He climbed it every day with a guide. He studied the mountain. He devoted his life to the rock. Every day that he spent on the rock, he would go back and he would make notepads full of notes, and he would read about the mountain, and he would study it. Nobody knew the rock like he knew the rock. And then he gets into interviews, and they ask him why he does what he does. And he said, nobody has ever seen the view the way I've seen it, because nobody's ever climbed the way I've climbed. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of people knocking me out there. It's because they ain't never done it. Yeah. You hadn't sacrificed the way I've sacrificed. You hadn't tasted and seen the mountain the way I've tasted and seen the mountain. You know, on this journey, people they're not going to understand what you do because they ain't never done it before. Yeah. But once you've tasted and seen how good He is, you devote your life to it. Just a taste of it. He said, every higher view I got, it was so satisfying, but it left me wanting more. It left me wanting to go to greater heights. A relationship with Him will always push you to climb to greater heights. And He's wanting to take you somewhere today, meet place. And you're in the house today, whether you've ever been to church before or not. You're in the house today because He wanted you here today. This was your destiny today. He climbed it, and I thought, what drove him to the mountain? What drove him to this? And I found out his mom had never told him that she loved him. I found out his dad, he died when he was at an early age, and he grew up most of his life without his dad in the years when he needed his dad. Unfair circumstances. He was picked on. He was made fun of. People walked out on him. And it drove him to the rock. It drove him to the mountain. If you could come play, if somebody could come play softly behind me today. If we could bow our heads and just close our eyes in the room today. We've got some music to play in the back, just something very, very soft. Just give me a couple more minutes this morning. I don't want anybody looking around, but what if I told you about that view again today? There's a view. with your name on it today. There's a view. A beautiful piece of land with your name on it. But you got to climb to see it. But it's yours. It's all yours. And what if I told you today that every day that you reported to the base of that mountain, there would be a guide to meet you there? What if I told you that? That you wouldn't have to climb alone. That on that mountain, on that journey to the top, you would laugh and you would cry together. There'd be days you'd fall off the mountain and the guide, he'd catch you and put you back on it. There'd be days where it would get tough and it would get rocky and you wouldn't have any strength to stand, but he would get up underneath you and he would push you. There'd be days where you didn't have anywhere to grab. But all of a sudden there'd be a place up here and he would open up his mouth and put it there for you. And so one day you're standing there at the top and you're celebrating, just you and him. And he's saying, here it is. It's yours. All because you accepted the invite to climb. There is a mountain today, it's called your life. And there is land today with your name on it. It's called your purpose and your destiny. And there is a God, and his name is Jesus. And he says and he promises every day, even when you doubt, even in unfair circumstances, even when they walk out on you, even when they make fun of you, even when they tell you you're no good, even when it's looking dark, if you'll show up, he will be there to climb with you every day. He's waiting on you today. He'll find you in the street every time and he'll love you. But he'll appoint you and he'll commission you on the mountain after you've met him there. There's an invitation for more today, Meeting Place. And if they see you climbing, they'll climb too. And there's some of you today, you've never accepted the invite to walk with him. But you're sitting here and you're saying here today, you're questioning your whole life. Maybe what this guy is talking about this morning is for me. Maybe I want to try this thing too. Maybe I want a relationship with Jesus too. It's on the table today. It's on the table today. And I will not leave here without stretching out the invite that the Father is giving today. And he's saying, if you want relationship with me, here it is. Here it is. He's seen your life. He's seen everything you've done. He don't want to come down on you. He don't want to keep score. He don't want to discipline you. All he wants to do is wrap his arms around you and love you today. Just like I want to wrap my arms around my sons and love them even greater, even greater, even greater than our minds could ever imagine. That's the way the Father feels about you today. He was there when you're at your lowest, and he loves you anyway. It don't seem real. It seems too good to be true. But he is the truth. And he came. And he died. so that you could be with him. So this morning, if you don't know Jesus, here's your shot. Here's your chance. We've all walked down to an altar. We've all raised our hand in our seat. Whatever it is. I don't care if you do it at your seat. I don't care if you do it at the front today. I don't care. We've all been there before, haven't we, Pastor Bobby? And this church is here today because we want to see the lost found.